Hello and welcome to round 2 of the Parenting Roundabout podcast. I'm Terry Morrow and I'm here with Catherine Haleko.
Hello.
Usually in this podcast we talk about parenting issues, but once a week Catherine and I like to get together to discuss TV, movies, books, and other entertainment topics because it's nice to talk about something other than parenting for a change. This week we are continuing with our 2 petite protagonist TV shows, Veronica Mars and Zoey's Extraordinary Playlist. So, it was Zoey's birthday. Happy birthday, Zoey.
Happy birthday.
She is 30, which makes me... I mean, we knew she was in her 20s, I guess, right?
Right, I guess. We didn't really stop to think too much about it.
All these people are very young.
Right. But she's too old for neighbor age.
Oh, definitely, yes. He is not old. And, that was entirely predictable, that when he started writing that song, it was going to be about her.
Oh, yes, absolutely. But I didn't predict that he was going to play it at her birthday party until, the doors opened
right.
And there they were. I was like, oh, here we go. Okay.
Yeah, that's... Overall, I enjoyed this episode a lot. It was the musical numbers were all very nice and very well done, and... The storyline was relatively straightforward, and it was an enjoyable hour of television. Except that we're back to the, which guy is Zoey gonna pick? Golly.
Although they seem to make pretty clear by the end.
Well, they did this time around, but she's picked him before.
That is true.
And then she picked Max, and now she's picking Simon again. And you know what? If Australia guy stays around long enough, she may even pick him, but probably not. So it's, okay.
But Max is with the, there's barking. Max is
Your dog has something very important to say about this episode.
About Zoey's playlist. They did watch it with me.
Yeah, well.
But now Max has the summer camp girl.
That's right. And that's just fine. And I'm very happy
just
for Max.
Just as we advised him to.
Yeah, go. But it's just, is this really the best we can do with a plot for a young woman in 2021? Is that for 2 seasons she's going, I think that one. No, that one. Well, maybe that one. But possibly that one.
Yes.
Oh, gosh.
I think one of the reasons why you liked this episode was the lack of Spark Point.
Yes, other than just candy. Lots of pretty candy. And a very cute production number in which she walked out of the building and then walked back in, even though I thought they were on a floor. Doesn't she get on the elevator?
I don't remember. Well, to go to work, she gets on the elevator, for sure.
But wasn't she was dancing around her office and then she walked out the window onto the street and then back in?
Mm-hmm.
Is this all? She's in a coma now from her terrible fall? I don't know.
The whole entire show is going to be proven to be.
There are many things I don't understand about Spark Point, and the architecture of the building is one of them. And sometimes you just have to let it wash over you. Yes. But I look forward to the apparent coming courtship of random Spark Point girl and Tobin.
Yes.
They seem like a nice couple.
Her name's Mackenzie, I believe.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I should give, I would like to give her a name. It's mean to call her random Spark Point girl.
I think
just they had those 3 that they brought from the other floor. And it's like the show went, which one shall we pick for a plot line? You! So, anyway, she's fine. She's perfectly charming.
I also had to wonder how Max and Mo can leave their brand new business on a Saturday night. You'd think maybe it would be busy there?
Yeah, that is a really good point. What the heck?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. When Zoey went there to say that she was having a party, I expected them to say, and you're not having it here? Why are you not having it here?
Right.
But there was no such mention.
There wasn't. And then on top of it, they were like, oh, sure, we're free on Saturday night. We just opened a restaurant, but we're free.
It'll be fine.
For you, Zoey.
Right.
Since the world revolves around you.
So that you can reject Max one more time.
Yes.
I hope he really just now says, enough. Have a nice life. I will always be your friend, but I'm taking my Kelly Clarkson record and going home.
He can stay with Rose.
Yes.
Just
I like
live
her.
Happily ever after.
I like
Rose.
her. And I like the little number they did. And the Kiss Me medley at the house was very nice with all the
different couples.
All the different couples.
Mm-hmm.
I liked that. I liked that much better than the last Moving Through the House number they did, which was American Pie after Mitch died. And I had thematic concerns, but this one was lovely.
Yeah. This one made much more sense.
It did. It did.
Although Zoey had to feel sorry for herself, like
because no one was singing to her, and then somebody sang to her, and she said no.
She's like, that was
Not
one of those
you.
cases where you be careful what you wish for.
Right. So now, if you went to the party of a woman you are clearly, had feelings for, given the way the episode ended, and you went there with another woman,
right.
Would you not at some point be quick to say, we're just friends?
Yeah.
Wasn't there another storyline? Was it on this show or someplace else?
It was on Veronica
said that exact
Mars.
same thing? Yeah.
It was Veronica Mars. It was when Max
was the sister
meeting Bronson at his place, and his sister was there.
He did not immediately say, this is my sister, girl that I like. Yeah. I don't want you to have any confusion.
Nope, he didn't.
Dudes, come on. Really? This shouldn't be hard. If you're trying to play it all coy and see if she likes you before you say anything, then you can use the other woman. But that did not seem to be the case in either of these things.
Right.
So that seems like artificial suspense.
Oh, yeah. Well, for sure in Veronica Mars,
yeah.
That was so dumb. That was so, sitcom 101 when they did
really was.
Veronica Mars.
Yes. But even this, Simon's been making eyes at her at work for quite some time. And
right.
Does he know about the heart songs? He knows about the heart songs, right?
I think so. That's a good question. Does he?
I'm trying to remember.
I know Max does and Mo does.
She was singing to him when her powers glitched, and I don't know if it got explained at that point. Maybe not. Maybe he doesn't know.
Maybe he doesn't.
Made me think, are they going to have the same problem with sex that she and Max did of him singing stuff?
Right. But so maybe if he doesn't know about it.
Will he have practiced thinking about, what was it the Max was thinking about? Oh, dear. Well, good luck to them. And good luck to Mo and Hot Fire Marshal. We know his name now, but I think we should just continue to call him Hot Fire Marshal.
Hot Fire Marshal, absolutely.
I believe he answers to that.
He does now, yes.
Yeah, but probably not in front of his children. That would probably be bad. That's an interesting little development. I kind of like that storyline. That was
although when he said, I have to go pick up something, it's he, was he planning to say that the thing was actually his kids, or did he just kind of get flustered, or, which doesn't seem in his character. He's extremely calm, cool, and collected.
Yes. Very cool for a fire marshal.
Yeah.
Especially a hot fire marshal. But it will be interesting to see where that goes. Yeah. He's a good addition. Mm-hmm. And we can feel fairly safe that he will not at some point fall for Zoey, right?
Gosh, let's hope not.
I think he's made it clear that that's not a risk. So she's perfectly lovely. She's a lovely young lady and certainly deserving of love. But two very attractive men and long-haired Australian fall for her in the course of a season and a half.
Yes.
She's a very lucky girl. Really, she can have her pick, apparently.
Yeah.
Of all the unmarried straight men in San Francisco. Possibly some married ones. She just walk down the street, hear them singing to her in their hearts.
Be like, oh, there's another option. Maybe I should consider it.
I just want better for her.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that this was an acceptable plot for part of the first season, and then it just really needs to stop.
Right.
Because it shows like a failure of imagination.
Agree. And
if I was Simon, I would say, let's us go move someplace far away from Max, shall we? There are whole other parts of the country that we could go to and hear people singing in your head. Because otherwise, you just know it's a pendulum.
Yeah.
And at some point, come on, show. Anyway, but other than that, if I suspend that dissatisfaction, it's very sweet.
Yeah.
It's very nice. Looked like a fun party.
Yeah.
So, on Veronica Mars, otherwise known as the show that is burning plot, we watched an episode called Papa's Cabin, which sounded to me in advance like it was going to be something creepy. Doesn't it sound like it like a horror movie, you know? Stumbled into Papa's cabin and he has an axe. I don't know. But in fact, it was sort of so much plot in this episode. There's really nothing much to be annoyed with in this episode because it was just pretty much all straight procedural with a tiny soupçon of Logan and Parker tossed in. But other than that, wow. Again, I say, Lamb is no longer even so much as mentioned. He is so dead that the only place you will ever hear of him is in the credits, where he's probably contractually required to still be.
To remain for the remaining few episodes of this season.
I am hoping when we get to the Veronica Mars Investigations podcast next week that they have some explanation for what has happened here. There's got to be a story, right?
You mean with Lamb? With Lamb. With that actor.
Yeah, I would like Veronica Mars to investigate.
Yes, please.
What did that actor do that caused him to be unceremoniously deceased?
Hit in the head with a baseball bat.
And we never heard of him again.
Yes, and now Keith is the sheriff. And suddenly the season-long question of who killed the dean has been answered.
See, if Keith Mars had been sheriff, the rapist, gone in an episode.
Right.
This is the problem. This was your problem. Not inadequate law enforcement. But,
yeah,
I mean, I figured that this was the arc for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And I mean, they did enough even before the finishing off of the thing. They had done a lot of, I mean, they could have milked out Mindy and the professor for weeks.
Right.
But no, they find them instantly, and Keith is down in Mexico, just waving his gun like he's belongs there. But so that was quick, and then Tim is holding forth, otherwise known as Unlucky, which continues his streak of, again, who hates that guy? He thought, I have this long season arc where I'm the bad guy, but nobody finds out to the end. No, whoops. You're gone.
And I still am a little... I probably should have watched it again because I'm still a little lost on okay, so Tim Unlucky set it up so that it would look like Hank did it and so that Hank would think Mindy set him up to do it. Is that... Am I understanding that?
I mean, I don't think he necessarily planned for the professor to kill Mindy, but I don't think he's sad that it happened.
No, yeah, I'm only talking about the dean part of it.
Right. Yeah, I would like more details on exactly how this all went down. And, I mean, we got a lot of details on how Veronica knew it was him, and I thought that was nicely done. But I would like a reenactment of the crime. Exactly. Yeah. Please. Because I thought that I had talked earlier about the fact that I figured that Tim killed the dean, and I had some reasons why that I thought would be important, and none of those things were mentioned at all. But And then, so Veronica confronts him. He's showing off in class because he's now the professor.
Right.
And I'm figuring, well, he knew that the professor was going to bad talk him when he was trying to get jobs. And so he set this whole thing up. And just as I'm saying that to my husband, that's pretty much what Veronica is saying. And she has all this evidence and stuff and confronts him with all this stuff. And then the next thing we know, he's confessed and he's in jail. And I'm like, why does he not just say, that's a very interesting theory, Miss Mars. I'd like to see you prove it. Because it's all circumstantial.
Right.
We saw what happened with Aaron with this. He doesn't have to confess. He could totally get off because even though we, the audience, saw Aaron doing these horrible, horrible things, actually the murder was just in Veronica's imagination and he did eventually get off. So I don't think she has any way to prove any of those things she said. But we had to wrap this plot up apparently.
Yeah, why? I mean, there's still 5 more episodes.
So this guy has cleverly, mechanically, painstakingly set up this incredibly complex scheme. And when Veronica pulls out a couple of threads, he goes, you got me.
Right.
So I don't buy it. Anyway, so, okay. They've just reduced the payroll for this show by like 4 characters.
Right.
1, 2, 3.
No 4. More Mindy, no more Hank, no more Tim and Lamb and Steve.
That's right, Steve too. And the basketball coach who we hardly saw, and Josh who's left town, they're just cleaning house.
I know. Who's going to take care of the kid with cancer and the surly teen?
That's what I keep thinking about this. It was how many weeks ago that they were all united to save this kid from cancer? And
guess he's fine now. Oh, he's in England. That's right. They shipped them off to England.
Good thing he got that bone marrow while he could.
Maybe they could have extracted it from the dead dad.
If they'd waited a month, everybody would have been dead. Ay, ay, ay. And
boy.
She's British?
Right. Where did that come from?
Okay.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my. But it was a very satisfactory procedural episode. I liked that, and I liked Veronica figuring out at the end that sort of old-school Veronica Mars stuff. Even though you don't want to think about it too much, it was still very satisfying. And what a Dumbo the professor turns out to be. If he just stayed in town, he'd be fine.
That's right.
Anyway, you can go back to making commercials in your neighborhood, right?
That's right. The Bellin guy, apparently.
Oh, dear. So there really isn't too much more to talk about.
Yeah, so what are they going to do for the next several episodes?
I fear we are going to be taking a turn back into Neptune politics because Keith mentioned that he was sheriff until there was a special election, and that was in the next week promos. No, they were. I was watching it on Hulu. And it accidentally went to the next episode. And in the previouslys was him saying that. So, we really have to do that again. Keith, you could probably be sheriff somewhere else, man. You just closed a case. Nobody needs to know that your daughter is the one who solved it. It's fine. You got the confession. Why would Tim confess? I'm annoyed that Tim would confess. Come on, man. What's the matter with you?
Well, he was also dumb enough to put Veronica's line from the perfect murder paper.
Right. Yeah. But they never mentioned all of that stuff. I guess one of the kids had heard that it was something from one of their papers, but it's like a Perry Mason episode where you're getting to the end of the episode, so just make the person confess, and then we can go. Don't have them call their lawyer. Don't have them refuse to speak on the grounds that they may incriminate themselves. Let them just break down there on the witness stand and admit it. And then we can all go home.
Especially when they're supposed to be an expert in criminology.
Exactly. He had shown a great deal of wiliness up to that moment. If he had just not showboated in front of the kids, he would have been fine. So, pride, Tim. It goes before a fall. But he was very clever right up until that point.
Yes, he was clever in how he got Veronica to do a lot of legwork for him and with him.
Yes. Now, I was confused when they were finding all the recordings of phone calls. That's the professor keeps CDs with all his phone calls recorded on them? Is this what we are to believe?
I thought that was somebody else's. I thought that was like Steve's house.
Was that Steve's house?
Somebody who had somebody else
bugged his phone.
Those. Yeah,
because that's weird, and also incredibly convenient for an investigator.
Yes, indeed.
Oh dear. Well, I am glad that Ed Begley Jr. has been avenged. And that even though the professor didn't actually kill anybody in the first place, and it probably was the accident in the second place, he was still having an affair with the dean's wife. So you got what you deserved. I had to laugh when they were saying that the professor might have killed the dean because the dean could ruin him in every good college across the country. And I'm like, the dean of Hearst College has that kind of heft? Seriously? Really? Yale and Harvard are going to be interested in this guy, but Dean O'Dell is going to call up and say, nah, not so much, and they will just... what is this college? I say again, what is this college? It seems to change based on the needs of the plot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can believe the professor deep sixing somebody at Pepperdine, but the fact that the mighty pen of the dean of Hearst College could sink the career of any promising academician sounds pretty ridiculous. But anyway, R.I.P. Dean, you have been avenged.
That's right.
And we got to see Ed Begley Jr. in flashbacks as we knew we would.
Mm-hmm.
So that is wrapped up, and now we move into uncharted and probably deeply unpleasant waters.
That's right.
Including the fact that next week's episode that we'll be discussing is called Un-American Graffiti. Again with the puns. This was a little blessed relief from punny titles. Mm-hmm. This was just sort of obscure, cluey titles.
Right.
But now we're diving right on back. So next week we will watch that episode, and we will also watch Zoey's Extraordinary Playlist Season 2, Episode 9, Zoey's Extraordinary Mystery. Oh. Along with, we're also going to listen to the episode of Veronica Mars Investigations podcast called Papa's Un-American Mars Bars, the title of which describes the 3 episodes they'll be talking about, which are the 3 episodes that we just watched. And that is going to be it for our Round 2 today. Please subscribe to our Parenting Roundabout podcast so you won't miss any of our episodes. We have something new for you every weekday. As always, you can find recaps, links, and an opportunity to comment on our website at parentingroundabout.com. Goodbye, Catherine.
Bye, Terry.
Goodbye, everybody.